Enterprise TV, a tradition of truth.
All right, to our viewers in Lagos, Nigeria, and across the world, you're welcome to another episode of Enterprise Morning on Enterprise TV. I am Henry Igwebike, and in a bit we'll be moving to our newspaper headlines. But just before we do that, I would enjoin you to please do visit our website daily at www.enterprisetvnews.com, and also follow, like, and comment on all our social media platforms at Enterprise TV7. Subscribe to our YouTube channel also at Enterprise TV7. So just before we go to what our national dailies have for us today, I have to discuss the newspaper headline preview. Today with me is Mr. Cyril Abaku. He is a broadcast and public affairs analyst. You're welcome to Enterprise Morning today.
Thank you.
All right, so let's move straight to the first daily we have today, and this is coming from the Nation newspaper. And the big story there says, Better Edu faces EFCC grilling. And on the top of a slip of the same newspaper, we have 37 EFCC squeezes ex-minister Sadia, while APC picks Edo candidate February 17, and NERC takes over Disco over poor performance. Alia triumphs at a Supreme Court. But of course, taking over the entire front page is a congratulatory message from Tom Polo to his boss, Dr. Mele Kyari. Well, that is not the story we have, but let's go to the big story we have today. And of course, just like you know, is the issue of Better Edu, who is currently facing lots of grilling from the EFCC. What is the latest from that squabble?
Well, yesterday the president suspended I want to think he bowed to pressure.
Oh, okay.
I would have thought that the substantive issues at play would have been enough to compel the president to send her packing. If a minister could write a memo, which she didn't say was forged, or for a memo directing that monies belonging to government be paid into a private account, which is corruption. Sometimes they say there's no universal definition of corruption, but one of the definitions is that you use what belongs to an organization for personal enjoyment. It's corruption. Diversion.
True.
Diversion. So, where there is manifest evidence of diversion, I don't see why the president, and then what did he do lastly? He barely managed to suspend her and said that the matter was being investigated. What sort of investigation is that? So, but that is that. Yesterday, after the suspension, she went into the presidency, the Aso Rock, to meet the president. And she was turned back, that she couldn't meet with Mr. President. But sincerely speaking, and then ordered that the EFCC, the president said the EFCC should invite her and ask her questions. Okay. Although deep within me, I have my reservations. Sometimes politicians are smarter than you could ever imagine. The fact that it took us so long to act is what speaks louder than every other thing. Because as we are told, action speaks louder than words.
Okay.
The right thing, suspend her, sack her, you chose the softer option of suspending her. Then for what it is worth, the camera saw her yesterday that she couldn't enter into Aso Rock. But what does the president personally think about what Edu did? You know, what's his personal opinion? So she will be visiting the EFCC. No, it's not like she's been arrested. I leave the rest to
Okay. Well, I think that will make our big conversation. But let's move on to the issue of NERC taking over Disco over poor performance. What is happening to our electricity? Of course, we know that we have a very shabby distribution in this country. But what is happening? Why?
No, the same thing is happening.
Poor performance?
The same thing that could happen is happening. And guessably, I could sit there and tell you that at the top of it, corruption is a problem. At the top of it, maybe lack of proper staff motivation is a problem. At the top of it, it is very likely that you've appointed round pegs into square holes. This is the typical Nigerian situation. Companies are sustained not based on performance, but based on man no man who knows who. The question is, if you even had gone to check in the first instance, the bidding process and all of these things, how did that company show competence and viability in buying over? I mean, it's a private company. Isn't that so? But why have they suddenly not been able to deliver on their mandate? A lot of these you see, in Nigeria, if you have a poor power problem, if your house, your meter got bad or anything got spoiled, you know these people are virtually inaccessible.
Yeah, inaccessible.
Inaccessible. How many people get meters, just even get a meter for your house? You know you have to put a camera through the eye of an needle. Am I correct?
True.
Why is it like that? So these people are not there to serve, they're there to make money. And whenever this is the aim, you know, the process is not transparent, the whole thing is fuzzy. People in government give money to friends and cronies to go and buy companies and all of that. And then they come in and own this company. Then in the end, they lack the capacity, they lack the viability to sustain.
But do you think the consumers, where does it actually leave the consumers now? Knowing that, of course, electricity supply right now is prepaid. So it isn't this issue where they just come and they just, estimated billings, of course. So it's prepaid now. So which means that consumers won't pay for something they don't use. But where does it leave Nigerian consumers?
No, so I have to backtrack. You have to allow me to backtrack on what you said.
Okay.
It is not prepaid yet.
You
right?
load your recharge.
How many people have the prepaid meter in their houses? That's the question. People, okay, let me even explain. People, what on is that except you bribe somebody, you won't get a meter in your house. You can go and check. That except you go and in the early days of meter distribution, it was war. Till today, I know people that have applied for meter for months. They are waiting for meters to come. So it's not. What I think ideally should have happened was that in the case of the meters, right? Because you're asking of consumers, you shouldn't even go and apply. You have a phone number, you have NIN number, you have all these things. Yeah. Even your meter number from your previous. Why don't they just come to your house and install the meters free of charge?
No, they've always done that.
I never knew that. People, as I'm talking to you, they have a facility where we've gone to apply for meter. We're waiting for months. We've been waiting for them. Normally, some people even called you. I mean, there should be a phone call away. You know, and there's another flat facility I know that their meter got bad until now. They've not come to repair or put a new one. So this distance between the suppliers and the consumers is a problem. Now we don't know. I mean, for a plethora of reasons, whatever it is, NEC has taken over this particular disco. But Henry, the real issue with Nigerian power is not discos and any other thing. The real problem is about who should have the right to generate, transmit, and distribute electricity.
Ordinarily, it should be the government because
did you hear
capacity.
Did you hear the story of the national grid collapsing?
Yes.
Is it not a shame and a travesty of reality and of good sense that Nigeria in 2023 is talking about a national? What does that even mean? A national grid. The national grid will always lead to national greed. What we ought to have are each state, Ondo, for example, can do solar. Kachia has a lot of wind, they can do wind. Each state looking at its own natural resource that they can use to power. In Enugu, they can do coal. Okay? And source their own power. And there was a time when Saraki was governor of Kwara State. After he generated plenty power, he couldn't give his people. He now have to feed it to the national grid, where as it is going along the way, some of the power will be lost. Then from national grid, they will not decide who to give and who not to give. That's colonial mentality. In the federal system of government, every state should have power and virtual autonomy over how it wants to use its power resources.
So why do you think the federal government is finding it difficult?
I think towards the end of his administration,
is it national security?
It is not national security. It's Nigerian irredentism, whatever it is you want to call it. Now what happened was before Buhari left office, the Constitutional Amendment, I think, affected something to the effect that governors, state governments can actually
generate
and do whatever, but none of them has even taken it up till now. The answer is break it into bits. When everybody wants to lash on to the same place, there will be struggle. So break it down, decentralize it. Why are the governors not willing to tap into what they have? That's the real bone of contention. Look at in Lagos, Olusosun dump site, that one at Ojota. The waste is energy too.
Yeah.
Even fecal waste, is energy.
The biogas.
Urine is energy. Olusosun dump site was crying for somebody to pay attention to. Nobody was looking at it. The site was so filled with, at a point it began to burn on its own. Turned into a field of fire, of flames. The energy is wasting. After the energy was down, still now nobody has gone. The only thing Olusosun does is that it makes Lagos stink.
Yeah, true.
But no, so we have LASU, we have LASPOTEC, we have UNILAG, we have all these schools in Lagos, all schools in Lagos, and none of them are professors of petrochemical engineering or whatever science that can tell government what to do with Olusosun. You see where I'm going now? So that's the real problem that we have. It's not even about Genco, DISCO not distributing power.
All right, so let's go to the second identity we have for today. It is coming from the Daily Trust newspaper, and the big story there says Bandits return to Kaduna-Abuja highway, abduct 30, and on the rider we have block road for 45 minutes. Cyril, let's talk about this issue. Would we say, is it right to say this is some sort of a sabotage against the administration of Bola Ahmed Tinubu? Because it seems to me like he had the answers.
Did you say sabotage?
Yes, exactly. Because sabotage? Of course it started from Muhammad Buhari, right? Because I feel people were people who actually were causing some of this mayhem. They felt they weren't listened to.
Let me say what I think in a line. I think that President Tinubu may be the one president who will not use very lethal force, very serious force against terrorists. It's clear.
Why do you think so?
I saw what happened in Plateau State. I saw what happened in Niger State. I have seen what has happened in other states. And now they are back in Kaduna. They are back to the watering hole. If he didn't do it in Niger, and didn't do it in Plateau, even in Abuja, as I'm talking to you now, kidnapping has become an epidemic. I've forgotten the name of that place. Is it Kwarafa or Korofa? So people are being kidnapped on it. In fact, people are being kidnapped on it every evening. They just go there, park. Abuja, the president's city. I think something is giving them the confidence.
What do you think is so?
Nothing gives them more confidence than when they know that when they do it, they can go scot-free with it.
So are you telling me that the position of Shettima, who assured Nigerians pre-elections that he was going to take care of security, he is incompetent or what?
It's not a matter of incompetence. I think it's more a matter of political will. And Shettima saying he will take care of insecurity, he's a human being, he's a man. Politicians make promises, otherwise people have voted for him. So was he supposed to say, I cannot take care of Boko Haram? But so is that what he should have said? He will tell you what you want to hear. But now he's in office and it's a different ballgame entirely.
All right, so
the question of security is not even a matter of people attacking anywhere. Look, there's a lot and there's enough for us to do. So for example, you have the problem of people who escape from Kuje prisons, still at large. What's the ongoing operation to bring them back into the prison system? Those that ran away from prison in Port Harcourt, in Lagos, in Imo. Is there any ongoing the police actually said that they were going to withdraw, and even the unknown government in the southeast that nearly killed, is it Chris Uba or one of the bands? Yeah. No, not a fine, the one that happened last month.
Oh, okay.
You know what I mean? Yeah, so, in fact, the story we now later had was that those guys had parked their vehicles waiting to ambush someone else. and which caused a logjam, which caused traffic. And then if maybe the Uber dispatched his police orderlies or whatever to go and clear the road so that he could pass. When they got and saw what was happening, those men opened fire on them. So if so Uber was not even the person they were targeting, but he could have fallen victim. You see how porous this whole thing is. In Port Harcourt the other day, I think around the border, 2 foreign nationals, I think one was even a Korean, South Korean, they are kidnapped. Then the other one that happened close to the international airport, Omagwa, where people were kidnapped again, 8 people were kidnapped again. Henry, the stories are just too many. But I think that they are running riot because they believe that they won't be caught, they won't be arrested, they will not be, nobody can trace them. If they knew, if they knew that something that there be consequence for their action, believe me, there'll be deterrence. This is why people have Mr. Falan have said Nigerians have right to bear arms for self-defense because the first instinct of man is survival. Okay, so if only for him to survive, he can. I personally don't see anything inhibiting that thinking. We must assert the power the government has to be the sole possessor of the means of violence was the power we gave willingly surrendered to them. So where they fail, we shouldn't think twice taking it back up. So if you are sufficiently endangered, if armed robbers came to your house and you could disarm and neutralize them, would you keep quiet and say they should rob and walk away?
But the issue is, let's look at the security architecture, and I'm more particular about the police. Just a couple of days back, the Nigerian police, paraded some young Nigerians who they alleged, said were part of the G's lover, cartel, and all that. And when the PRO was busy doing all of that and explaining himself, he enumerated, what the Nigerian police went through to discovering them and assuring Nigerians that if you are into crime, they would find you wherever you are. Why is the Nigerian police then finding it difficult to discover most of these people who are committing a more heinous crime?
So I put it down to something earlier. I said political will. Henry, let me say this on national television. Even Boko Haram, as serious as Boko Haram and the bandits and what's it called, so-called Onongo men have become, the Nigerian police has capacity, competence, character, charisma, everything you need. The Nigerian police has, including the specialization that is required to route them. The police has it.
So what's stopping them?
Political will.
On the part of who?
So, for example, in Plateau, after they killed in Bokos, Barakinla, Diamangu, out of 200 plus were killed. Police has only arrested eight people. That was on Thursday last week. In addition to that, people died. Nearly 200 and something people died. Police said only 96. What's it called? You want me to? I should name names. When I stop at where I want to stop, you can put it. You can cross your eyes and dot your teeth. The police spokesman answers to a boss, does he not?
Yeah.
That boss has another boss, does he not?
True.
And perhaps that line goes up right.
The hierarchy.
The hierarchy. So, and the hierarchy is political leadership. Am I correct?
True.
So, if the political will is not there, nothing good can come out of even the best things.
Exactly. So let's move to our last daily for today. And this is coming from the Guardian newspaper. And the big story there says 585 million humanitarian scandal. EFCC quizzes embattled Edu. Others as anti-graft opera heightens. And on the downslip of the same newspaper, we have security guard bags alive imprisonment over sexual assault. And also on the downslip of the newspaper, we have subscribers suffer service disruption over 70 billion naira interconnect debt. I guess this story is made some good headlines a couple of days back, and this is a rift between MTN and Globacom. Right, the issue of interconnections and I guess trying to fix themselves and all. Why do you think this is happening? Then what is the agency superintending or supervising them not doing right?
No, so you see, the Nigerian situation is a unique situation in which you almost have to now pause before you speak about a lot of things. Not pause in terms of self-censorship, but pausing because the material facts of every case are bizarre, are weird. They are funny in a way that you want to ask whether these two should be happening in what you want to call a country, where there are laws, where there are systems, where there are functions, where there are, for example, the regulators, as you've said, where there should be institutions that should nip this sort of things in the bud. Clearly, the Globacom and MTN situation is the case of, a giant and,
A market leader and a market challenger.
And then maybe the market challenger speaks the indigenous language and we try to use that to muzzle the market leader. But clearly, the situation is not a good one. If two corporate giants are fighting and the matter is not in court, then it means leadership must be supplied to deal with that matter and nip it in the bud as soon as possible. You got what I'm saying? It shouldn't be a case of I said, you said, we said this. No. If the matter is not in court, then the regulator, somebody must step in.
That's what I'm asking. So what is the regulator? The regulator is supposed to be in charge of all of these telecommunication companies and directing them on. So if they have an issue, instead of MTN threatening Glo that they will ensure that their subscribers don't call Glo and all that, shouldn't they have reported this issue to the regulators and the regulator intervenes? But right now it seems like the floor is open for a fight between both of them.
So it's an institutional failure. And there must be proper risk management, regulatory risk management, of course. But we can only hope that between today and maybe the end of this week, that these parties will be called into a resolution, amicable resolution of this conflict. But clearly, it doesn't bode well for the country and for business.
All right, that's just about the time we have on newspaper reviews today on Enterprise Morning. I'd love to say thank you to Mr. Cyril Abaku for being part of our show.
My pleasure.
Today. So when we return, Humanitarian Minister suspended, set to face the EFCC today. Details shortly when we come back. It's still Enterprise Morning. Please don't go anywhere.